Hello, everyone. Welcome to our accepted students webinar for you for the Department of Biological Sciences. So faculty that are here with me is Rick Rallier, who's an ecologist, Jennifer Hurley, whose research is around circadian biology, and Kathy Royer, who's a biophysicist, and her research covers a very large area from proteins and molecules, computational, all the way to yeast. And so we have a very broad group of faculty to answer your questions. And so I just want to begin by telling you or introducing you to each of our majors. And so I'm going to go to the second slide. Rick?
Yes, thank you, and welcome everyone. Really pleased to have everyone chiming in and hearing about the Department of Biological Sciences. As Dr. Gerber said, I'm an ecologist and evolutionary biologist, so part of the main biology major. So the work that we do includes things like understanding what human impacts are on the environment and how we can mitigate those impacts. One of the big projects we have at Rensselaer is partnering with IBM Research to understand the impacts of humans on fresh water and all the ways that we can impact fresh water, from pollutants to global change to invasive species, and lots of opportunities for undergraduates to work with us in that area.
Jen?
Hi, I'm Jennifer Hurley. As Susan said, I am an assistant professor in the department, and my expertise is in circadian biology, and that's really how organisms keep time at the molecular level. And in doing that, I work with anywhere from the ecologist in the department, which is Rick, and studying how organisms in the environment keep time, to biomolecular analysis of proteins and how that time is kept, to mammalian biology and how the circadian clock regulates our immune system. So we do a lot of different things in the lab.
Kathy? Okay, so Jen, do you want to talk a little bit about biological neuroscience?
Sure. So one of our majors here at RPI is biological neuroscience. And the structure of that major starts out very similar to our biological track. And so for the first 2 years, you're really following the basic biological setup. And that changes when you reach your third and fourth years, when you start to focus much more on neurobiology and how neurobiology controls biology itself. And for me, that's really important because our brains control the timing in our bodies. And so there's a lot of research we do on the neural level. But with that, you can see, if you look online with the quick facts of biology, that we have classes from neuron to behavior and cellular neuroscience, as well as advanced general cell biology courses that are built into this major, so that by the time you graduate from RPI, you have a really broad basis in understanding neurobiology and neurobiological research techniques.
So the one thing I wanted to jump in and say about biology is that is probably one of the first majors of the department. And the history behind it was the fact that it was to serve each individual student who was interested in the life sciences, but maybe wanted to do different things, from ecology all the way to systems and then also to molecules. And so what sets it apart is the first 2 years are very similar to all of the majors in the department, as well as many in the School of Science. But then what sets it apart is that the individual student chooses how they want to tailor their particular curriculum. So that is another nice thing about biology, and many students start there and then go to other majors within the department, or with dual degrees or minors. So who wants to talk about computational biology?
So, Rick, do you want to start with ecological computational biology, and then I'll do the biomolecular?
Sure. So the computational biology, as Susan said, a lot of the first couple of years are pretty similar across the courses that you take, across the majors. But then you really get into sort of much more analysis and learning about ecological systems. So you take a lot of the sort of courses.
Are they
in
going to set
ecology,
back
etc.
my age
But then you
too,
take
so
more
that
advanced
I
courses,
get younger?
including things like you could take sequence analysis, machine learning, data
Yes,
science.
that would be nice.
And the whole idea is to make you much better at handling data in a really sophisticated, modern way. So not just the typical biostatistics, but taking on issues of big data and machine learning to give you a lot more sort of modern approach to ecological systems than we traditionally would
and
have.
To follow up with that on the biomolecular side, so I think almost all of us in the department would really be, on some level, computational biologists, whether it's working with data on proteins at the molecular level or just number of proteins in a cell. And so we're really enthusiastic about computational understanding of biology. And so the biomolecular systems track of computational biology focuses on all the little details that go into computationally tracking what goes on biomolecularly in a cell. So once you've gotten through your core courses in the first couple of years, then you have a lot of choice within biomolecular systems on what you can look at. So you can be very interested in protein structure, and there's a lot of courses in protein structural determination. You could look at the systems themselves, quantifying how many proteins, transcripts are in a cell. That's biology of systems. And so all of those add up to you getting a broad-based education on how to computationally analyze what's going on in biomolecular systems.
Thank you. So I want to just speak briefly about those of you who are interested in the 7-year RPI
one day at a time.
AMC
That's what
Accelerated Physician Scientist Program. But also, I want to call your attention to the fact that Dr. Mike Hanna, who's the pre-health advisor, is going to do a medical school specific webinar that's scheduled for Monday, April the 20th, and it's scheduled at 6 p.m. to help some of those who are on the West Coast. In addition, there will be other webinars that are going to be scheduled where individual students will be available to talk to you both about the majors as well as any questions you may have, because I feel that the students have a perspective that is somewhat different from the faculty, and you as prospective students really, really want to hear from them. So I don't want to take up too much of the time with our talking to you. This is really for you to ask us questions. Hold on one second, Kathy. All right, everyone, just send us your questions. And then there's another question. Can we change within different areas of biology? Absolutely. One of the statistics that they recently computed was the fact that of Rensselaer students that come in first year, approximately 65 to 70% of them change their major once they get here and find out more. So one of the things that I like really about the majors, especially the School of Science, it doesn't matter really where you start. You take all of the same core courses in the first year. And so that gives you a chance to settle in and make decisions of what you think you want to do. And there have been students who've changed their major as many as 3 times. And I think of it as they're tuning their major multiple times. So, yes, most definitely. Jen, do you want to take the third question? Go to your chat area.
So how many common courses are there between various specializations? So the first couple of years, there's quite a bit of commonality between the courses. So especially with biology, biological neuroscience, biochemistry, and biophysics, most of the courses you're taking in the first 2 years align. So I think biochemistry and biophysics, and Kathy, you can jump in if I'm wrong at any point, but I'm pretty sure that they're almost all the same in the beginning. And I think computational biology only varies a little bit in that you're taking computer science in the spring semester of your first year. Otherwise, almost everything you're taking is the same in the first 2 years. It's really the last few years that diverge pretty broadly, but by then you'll have a really good idea of if this major is a good fit for you. So you've got a lot of fluidity in the first year or so.
Yes. So John writes, are PSP students allowed to minor in a different school at RPI? And yes, you are. So it is very, very common for our majors to minor in psychology, for example. It is incredibly common for engineering students in chemical engineering and biomedical engineering to minor in one or more of our particular majors. So that's incredibly common.
So the research, Rick, you have probably the most undergraduate research students out of all of us.
Yeah, I'm happy to take that one. The question is, what's the process of getting involved in bioresearch? The advice I give all the students I advise is, think broadly about what you might want to do and what kind of courses you find interesting when you start. Start early if you can. Start in your freshman year, maybe not the first semester, but do get started as early as you can and do your homework. Go to the different websites and find out what the different faculty work on, what you find interesting, contact them. In your first year, we expect no one really has any experience, and that's why you're coming. You'll get that experience, typically working for credit in different labs, so you get credit just like a regular course. And then as you go along, the opportunities get better and better. That is, you have more opportunities once you learn the basic skills. You get to learn about how you get to perhaps do your own research. Have opportunities, maybe full-time employment in the summer to work in a lab. And if things go really well, you have opportunities in most labs to actually publish research that you're doing. So, start early. If you're not excited by what you find, you jump to another lab, on another topic and try that out. Just like Susan said about tuning your major, you tune your research experience. I think it's just as important to find out what areas of biology you don't find interesting and exciting as it is to find out those you do find interesting and exciting. And frankly, it's a really quick and easy way to find out that you like one area of biology more than another. Spend time in the labs. You also get to spend time around graduate students and postdocs and technicians and learn an awful lot about what this field is about and what the career opportunities are about. So all of that means, start early, look around, do your homework, contact the faculty once you've done your homework. When you contact the faculty, you should know something about what they do, and that'll come across much better when you contact them, that you actually know what kind of research that they do. So that'd be my
David
advice.
had the question, what other career opportunities are there for biochem, biophysics majors other than going to medical school? So I think one of the things that happens, especially in today's world, that there seems to be such an emphasis on people who want to go to medical school. And I will tell you that a large number of students all over the country who began as pre-meds, as they learn more and they get more experience in hospitals, that they discover other things that are more exciting to them. And so all of them majors are going to position you really strongly either to go to graduate school or to go directly to the workplace. The new program, the ARCH program, where you do a semester away, many of us students are doing co-ops and internships in companies, and then they are choosing to go directly to the company. The other terrific opportunity is Regeneron is a pharmaceutical type company that's down the road from us, and many of us students are getting internships there in the academic year as well as in the summer, and then going directly to their lab when they graduate. So there are many, many different opportunities, and I haven't even mentioned law school and business school. Many students choose different paths, and so part of what Rensselaer is going to do is to provide you the experiences and also the information to help you figure out where you want to be. So, not to be Mike Hogg, but Anne just asked, can you go into depth about the FlexMed program and the relationship with Mount Sinai? So Rensselaer does have a relationship with Mount Sinai, and the FlexMed program is where early on, sophomore year, I believe, that you express your interest in going to medical school at Mount Sinai. But what is different from that, from the accelerated physician science program, is that you would stay at Rensselaer for the entire 4 years. Even though we have the FlexMed program, there are very few students from Rensselaer that have actually been accepted into that program, in part because it may be what Mount Sinai is looking for in terms of who they want to accept from other schools. So that's another program to explore with Dr. Hannah too. But from my observations right now, most of our students either go directly to medical school through the normal process, or they're part of the accelerated physician science program.
I'd like to just mention one other program that's a new one that might be of interest to those who are interested in going into the pharmaceutical industry. We now have a dual major, biochemistry and economics.
Does anyone want to take the next question about what kind of support is there for one who struggles initially with the courses? If not, I can do it. All right, I will do it. So Rensselaer has this wonderful program that is funded by the Howard Hughes Medical Institute, and it's called I Persist. I Persist provides mentors in calculus 1 and 2, and physics 1 and 2, and chemistry 1 and 2 for the first year students. In addition to that, we have a learning center that has tutors that help students in all of the different courses, one-on-one or either through group recitations. In addition, the faculty are really, really incredibly supportive, because we know that students come from many different backgrounds and have many learning styles. And so, first of all, if you were accepted at Rensselaer, you can be successful at Rensselaer, and there are programs to help you make the transition, and there are people here that really support you. So I think that's, from my perspective, is one of the nice characteristics about this institution as a place to choose for college. So Jack's question is an interesting question. He asks, since biomedical engineering is in the engineering school, is it more difficult to switch between schools than within a department? And I would say, yes, it is. But I will say my recommendation historically has been, if you think you're interested in biomedical engineering, to do one of two things: either start in biomedical engineering and then make your decision at the end of first semester, or there is one survey engineering course that will give you information. So I've had students do it both ways. The one thing I recommend, if you're not sure, and you start in biomedical engineering, make sure that you take what we call Biology 2120, Introduction to Cell and Molecular Biology, in the second year. It's required as part of the BME curriculum, but if your major gets disrupted, you do not want to be behind. So you really need to make sure you take Chemistry 1 in the first semester if you do not have AP credit for it, and you have to make sure that you're in 2120 in the second semester, and then it'll make the transition. I had an advisee who began and did 2 years in BME, and then she switched to biochemistry, biophysics, and she did really well. She graduated and she went to Genentech in a company when she graduated. And so, again, it is the expectation that you have the opportunity to come, experience, and then define the path forward that's best for you.
So I can answer Noor's question about opportunities to study abroad in biology, because I have several undergraduates in my lab right now that have just returned from their fall semester abroad. And so what they did was to utilize the summer arts program and to apply for potential internships all over the world. And they spent an entire fall semester researching in Germany. They picked up some new techniques that they actually brought back to my lab, and they're using those techniques in my lab now. So there's lots of opportunities to use that fall semester or spring semester of your junior year to go abroad and do research. And I believe, Kathy, that you have some interesting insights on this too, probably.
Does anyone want to take the next question? Given the pandemic issues in modern era, how can we tune our exposure to be ready for the next pandemic? I think that you're going to see that a lot in the classes. I teach in Introduction to Biology, that is for majors and non-majors, and my section on genetics and medicine finished right before all of the shutdown, but one of the classes was totally about coronavirus, COVID-19, and there was an incredible discussion around it. And I think you're going to find that students will have very, very strong opinions. There are courses in the humanities that will be addressing this, as well as in our curriculum. Alex has the question, what type of arch opportunities are available for neuroscience majors that want to attend medical school? So I know that some of our students are doing their away experience in a neuroscience research lab at Mount Sinai, and then also others at Albany Medical College. So there's the research perspective. There's also being in a company where you are focused on that. So I would say one of the cool things about the semester away is the fact that you're going to spend a year to 2 years kind of doing searches to figure out how you want to spend your time. And you can go away in the fall or the spring. You can combine it with an international experience as well. So there are many, many opportunities.
So I guess that I can answer a little bit about the success in bio coursework. There's a lot of different strategies, and Susan touched a little bit on the resources that are available here at RPI in order to help you be successful in those classes. And number one is taking advantage of all of those. The other thing that I would say is that I don't think students really realize that faculty love to talk about science, and we love to talk about our classes. And if you come to our office hours, we're more than happy to help you meet all of the goals that you need to meet for our class. And that's probably the number one thing that I see students not do that we would love to see them do more of, is have a relationship with your professors and talk to them whenever you have an issue that you don't understand a concept in the lab. If they don't have office hours that day, they will point you to a TA or to some of the places that you can go to get extra help. But taking advantage of all of those resources that Susan mentioned, as well as your faculty, will really help you to succeed in this program.
So we have a question about astrobiology. We have a new center in astrobiology that was just funded last year by a huge NSF grant, NASA, sorry. And it is many different departments that are involved. There are faculty from chemistry, there are faculty from biology. Kathy, for example, is involved in it. And so there are multiple majors that you can do. Kathy, can you talk briefly